What's happening, everybody? It is the kickoff of our first NFDA live segment with John and I, which we're going to come to you the next 2 days from 2 to 3 and Wednesday from 10 to 11. I'm Ryan Thogmartin with Disrupt Media. This is John with Domanicare, and we're going to be chatting about how we got into the profession, for one, and two, how did our companies come about, and then also we'll touch on our partnership that we have together and why it's so aligned. So what got you into the funeral profession?
Like so many other funeral professionals, I didn't grow up going, I'm dying to be in the funeral profession. Right. No pun intended, but I absolutely was drawn to it and have fallen in love with the funeral profession and the opportunity to have such fulfilling and meaningful work with the things that we do. Our tagline on it is that Domanicare is aftercare for the digital age. And we use a text message-based platform where we're able to text message families on behalf of our funeral home partners at designated dates for the course of a year. And we start off with the first message about a week or two after the service. With our platform, we have the ability to send out thousands of text messages at a time, but what we do at Domanicare is that we employ live text message responders. We get how busy funeral service is. You are dealing with at-need arrangements, and I get that takes highest priority. However, through that process, if I ask, and I have, funeral home owners and funeral directors all across the country, and I say, well, what are you doing for your aftercare efforts? How are you reaching out to the families that you've served? And time again, they look at me and they feel bad because they don't have the time to dedicate to it, but they still want that personal human touch and human interaction. So we have live text responders, and any text message that comes in after we launch that campaign, they are responding to them. Very cool.
So you and I got connected really last year around this time, and started having some conversations. And what really attracted us to Domani and to you was we're doing prior to the funeral what you're doing after the funeral.
Right.
Like our with Disrupt, we're creating social media content that builds relationships for funeral homes. Explain our partnership a little bit and what value that brings to the funeral home.
Sure. I think in its simplest form, it's been really awesome for both Ryan and myself as we communicate with funeral homes all across the country about our services. Generally speaking, they will ask advice kind of on one direction or the other. So we saw so many just synergies through that. And I told Ryan, I said, I don't have any desire to be in your space, and I don't think you have any desire to be in my space, yet they're so complementary to each other. And so they really work. And so it's very easy and natural for us to plug Disrupt Media in any of our presentations. And I know that it is reciprocated. And that has been really exciting for me to be able to say, how can I help some Disrupt Media clients kind of continue to take their business to the next level and vice versa. So it's done there in its simplest form. On the Domanicare side, we are willing to offer free Domanicare services through the end of the year now, but so 60 days free with Domanicare for all Disrupt Media clients. So that's first and foremost where that exists. The other one is on Domani for Grief, which is a part of the Domanicare product, but it is also standalone. There is 30 plus free online courses. We have access to coaching via your mobile device. We have therapy sessions, and that is available for every single Disrupt Media client. And that just happens whether you do Domanicare or not. You have access to Domani for Grief. We will build a landing page for you that has your logo on it. It has a unique keyword for you, and we can help you execute marketing materials and things of that nature that can also be plugged in your social media campaigns. Domani uses Disrupt Media. We run campaigns with Disrupt as well. So they handle our social media. I'm decently tech savvy. I'm able to navigate social media just fine, but we still use Disrupt Media because we believe that they are fantastic and have been a really, really wonderful partner. So the partnership has just begun, but so far so good. We really love working with the Disrupt Media.
So if we can establish that relationship first, we keep them in your funnel, then we can retarget them with lead ads once we have that relationship built. So 18 times return on average, spending $1,500 over a 90-day period in Facebook lead ads, netting out $28,000 in pre-need sales. Every funeral home is going to have pre-need content go out. Every funeral home is going to have grief and informational things that they can post. But what we don't talk about is relationships and how do we connect people to what you do every single day, why you're better, your staff, what you're doing in the community, the things that happen around the funeral home. You're more than just a funeral director, right? What's your family do? Where do you guys like to vacation? What does your staff like to do? How are they volunteering? That type of content builds relationships outside the norm of what everybody else is going to post on Facebook. And when we have that trust and transparency, now the consumer can walk that path, we can tell your story and grab a lead from it. So there's things that we're doing in real time, you know, maybe you guys are at an event and you're taking a picture and hey, we forgot to tell you that we were at this event, here's what we're doing. You take a picture, send it to us. We're posting it real time. So this gives us a kind of a roadmap of what we're gonna follow, but it's literally October 1st, this text, this image, this video, this link. You know exactly what's gonna be posted, when it's gonna be posted, and that gives us the plan. You made a point and I wanna emphasize it. You know, we'll have clients that when we sign them, we'll be like, oh, we have a 4-star rating. That's not terrible. Yeah. Like you said, 4.8 a lot of times is better than a 5. I can't agree more because it shows the human element.
It does.
There is not a single person that, there's one man that walked the earth that was perfect and we're not it. Yeah. So there's not anybody that's perfect nor business that's perfect. So that human element, it's how you handled that 3-star review that gave you the 4.8 that is the key.
Let's talk about this too. So 4-star, they come to you, I have a 4-star rating. My next question would be, how many ratings do you have? Yeah. And I think that's important. You don't rest your hat on if you have a 5-star rating because
you have 3 reviews.
Your sister wrote a 5-star review for you. When your competitor has a 4.8 and 50 reviews or 100 reviews,
the consumer trusts that.
What is the consumer going to trust more?
That's right.
The 1-star or the 5-star rating or the 48 with the average of a 4.8, right? At the end of the day, you also need to have quantity of reviews to show consistency, and that we talk about this personalization and this connection that we have with people. It's all about trust. Yeah. At the end of the day, the consumers need to know: can I trust you with my loved one that just passed away? Am I okay for my mom to select your funeral home to take care of Dad? Right, as they're going through and they're looking at that, they are going to turn to reviews and they're going to say, you know, if you're sitting at a 3.6 or whatever the case, they're going to start scratching their heads and saying, I know that XYZ funeral home is a little bit more expensive, but they have a 4.8 rating and a 56-star reviews. I think we should do that. Because why? Because Forbes said it. Consumers spend 31% more with a business that has excellent reviews.
I think we talked about it a little bit. You know, you're serving a family once every 15 years. Yeah. If you're not providing those services and staying in front of the consumer and building that relationship, there's no guarantee you're going to get that family again. Yeah. And you know, I don't know how many funeral homes I have conversations with. They're like, yeah, my competitor's taken families from me, and you know, we've served that family for 30 years and 3 generations, and I don't know why they would go somewhere else. Well, that firm must have done something to earn their trust and provide value. And I think aftercare is an essential piece of that, because you've got to continue that communication with the family. Otherwise, we've commoditized ourselves and we need you for 3 days and then we don't need you at all. Right. And you know, building that relationship and staying in front of the consumer and communicating, I think, is absolutely key, because you mentioned a statistic earlier in the week of how transient we are as a consumer.
11.7 times or something like
crazy,
that in their
which
lifetime they will move.
is nuts. So, as we don't have the opportunity to always have a long-term relationship, we've got to make the best of when that consumer is in our community and make them feel welcome. And if that's around grief, if that's around aftercare, if that's around just pre-planning and knowledge around a funeral, we've got to do what we can to have those conversations. Because if we don't, the consumer is going to go outside the profession to get those resources. And people outside the profession don't have the best interests of the profession in mind or educating that consumer. And we need to keep those relationships, because there's no one better suited to help a family through that journey than those in the funeral profession.
On behalf of NFDA's 20,000 members, I want to especially thank you for the commitment you're about to make for the next year. And I thank you for your time served. Sounds almost like a prison. Well, but the good luck is you'll be out in a couple of years. But thank you for doing that. As we charge the board, you must wear the only hat, the National Funeral Directors Association. You are now the face, the voice, and the spokesperson. And I charge you not to react without thinking, consulting your board, the staff, and other people that you trust in this profession. I encourage you have your board get involved in discussions and deliberations. But once they make that decision as a body, you must support the body. If you agree to that, say I will. I will. I charge you to be very familiar and learn and abide by the bylaws of the National Funeral Directors Association, and that all decisions are for the good of all funeral service. If you agree, say I will. I will. Therefore, by the authority vested in me, I hereby install you as the 2019-2020 President of the National Funeral Directors Association. And I wish you and the First Lady good luck.
So it's key, it's elegant. How about the, like the logo on this?
Yeah. This is all customized to the funeral home. We've got nothing in it.
Okay.
The consumer, when they get to here, they're going to get line item. They can print it out.
This is really
the funeral home's getting the lead.
The cleanness of this.
Yeah, that's. Is this the only cost estimator in the marketplace? No. There are other things that estimate the cost, but they've got a CRM back end. They've got payment capture. They've got all this. When I go on Cadillac and I build out my car, I'm not paying for it right there, right?
What do you
I'm
like
gonna go.
About this?
I like this because you're giving the consumer what they want, and they know it's the hardest thing to get is what it's going to cost.
Right.
And when we try to drive leads without any type of price conversation, the very first question is, what does it cost? Here you go. Absolutely. This is what it costs. This is your accurate GPL. You have your own dashboard where you can see all the leads that have come through. You're getting emailed the leads when they come through immediately. So there's a sales approach to this. Is this family going, yeah, let's go, like I'm ready to pre-plan today? No. What they are doing is saying, I'm curious, I'm thinking about my funeral, here's what I like. Yeah. And is it because the consumer wants a price, and the only time we show price is when it's the cheapest in the community and it's on cremation?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think that it's always a money decision, but it's a transparency and trust. Okay, there's the price, this is what I'm gonna get. When I walk into a restaurant and I order food, there's prices beside the menu. I know what it's gonna cost when I order the food. Absolutely. If you walked into a steakhouse and they didn't have prices, you're gonna just pick whatever you want. You're gonna go, okay, this is probably less expensive, so there's no shock. Yep. All right, until next time, we're in this booth, which will probably be next year, but you can catch us all over social media, disruptmedia.co.
And Domanicare. Yeah, just look
Domanicare.
up Domanicare. It's there.
That's it. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.